Right, so hopefully it sent out a notification. Hopefully this stream won't cut out partway through like the internet's been doing a bit recently. But I think it cuts out near 2 p.m. on the weird Windows 10 thing. So I'm hoping if I stream today 12 to 1 sort of time, it won't cut out. So, yep, if you're seeing this, it's Saturday. Normally I'd be at work Saturday, but of course no work at the moment because we're being told not to go to work and to isolate. So, hello to everybody. If you want to see a picture, I had to go out today. I took a mask with me. The reason I had to go out was basically because Royal Mail decided to put import duties on one of the things I'd ordered. So what I'm just going to show you is how deserted a high street looked near me when I went to the local collection office. See that? Look at that. You can see maybe 1 or 2 people in the distance, but thankfully, yeah, they were actually, today people are starting to take it seriously and not be out and about. So yeah, I parked my car, went straight to the thing, paid for my parcel, came straight home like I was meant to do. But as you can see, nobody about as they should be. So yeah, ghost town, but that's what you want at the moment, because what you don't want is, people violating quarantine like a lot of people have been doing. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, as you come on, and hello to all you Australians. Hopefully this is a good time for you. Time here is just coming up to 12, as in midday. So hello to everybody. Right, hopefully that weapons do, Jim, you get tested. Hopefully you're negative, or if you are positive for coronavirus, hopefully it's mild and you overcome it and then you're immune. Because, yeah, did a basic disinfection but didn't come into contact with anybody, thankfully. The only person I came into contact with was the person, I had to pay for the parcel. So made sure I gave my hands a really good wash afterwards, obviously, because I had to handle money. Because the collection office doesn't take card. You have to pay in cash, which is a bit annoying. 10:57. That's not a terrible time for Australia, is it? 10:57 in the evening. A lot of people are probably still up at that time. I don't go to bed normally till like 12, 1 a.m. most days. Weirdly, today I've felt a lot better. I've still got that really painful, swollen sort of lymph node, whatever it is there, which is obviously because my body thinks there's an infection somewhere. It could be just a cut somewhere. Yeah, basically £13 mobe it was. It was for 2 Geiger tubes. I'll show you them. They both work. I've tested them. 2 Chinese, what do they call these ones? J305 tubes for beta and gamma. But I wanted to get some more of these because these are quite good Chinese tubes, Chinese military tubes. You can get them on AliExpress and eBay. Of course, annoyingly, the eBay, fee made them a bit more expensive. But the nice thing I like with these Geiger tubes is you can actually, if you use them in a dark room and you put a strong enough source next to them, they glow because you can physically see ionization. So I'll need to do a video on that at some point. Could be a Zad. I think actually though this was inflamed a day or 2 before I cut my hair. I've got a cut on my ear there, which is scabbing over, so it could be from that, or it could just be a random infection thing. George says, my brother was asking me if he wanted to go play football at our local field, which is isolated by a hospital. I told him he was drunk, so he didn't go. I think a couple of grand, Frosty. But bear in mind that at the time had the best CPU you could get, the AMD 3900X or whatever it was. But yeah. So we can talk about coronavirus, obviously. I'm sure that's what most people want to talk about. As I said, it's weird for me. I was actually awake before my alarm today. The reason being that because I'm used to working at the weekends, I think my body clock just wanted to wake up early to get ready for work, and I thought I'm awake, I might as well get out of bed. I wore this one. I had it hanging around my neck like this, and then I was going to put it on, obviously, if I came into close contact with people, and I didn't come into close contact with people because, thankfully, most people indoors, I had to walk past 1 or 2 people, and they were all keeping a distance, so thankfully. I've got a Logi webcam, like a Logitech one. It says HD 1080p on it. It's got a name. I can't remember the name of it. It's the really popular Logitech one, or at least like a year ago when I bought it, it was. I mean, people are talking about the hantavirus. I don't know too much about it. It's just a disease you get from rats, isn't it? Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better today, Mike. I don't know why it is, but yesterday where I felt like really sick and fluey again, today feel absolutely fine. The only painful thing is that swollen bit there and my ulcerative colitis, causing a bit of stomach pain, but that's completely usual. So no, I don't know. Yes, my bagel infinite digits pie. Does it start off 3.14 or something like that? Because I had my glasses on, I didn't. If I was at the supermarket, I'd have had goggles. But because this was literally park a car, walk down the road, get a parcel, walk back, I didn't bother. This is what I wore today. If I had to go supermarket shopping though, with all the people, I'd wear a full face mask. Probably my Spaziani. Do I have the Spaziani in one of these things behind me? This would be a good thing. Or if I put it back in my car already. Because basically, no, that's the M98, I think, in that one. What's in this one's M44. Yeah, I've got a load of these, like ready to go sort of setups. So, I can. Oh no, that's not the M98 in that one. It doesn't matter anyway, but yeah, the point is, I've got a lot of these. So I won't dig through all those now because I'd rather talk on the stream, but I'd rather not damage my webcam while it's still got a warranty on it, but after it's out of warranty, I could take the plastic cover off. But yeah, you're right, there is like a plastic bit in front of the lens. Yeah, you're right. But knowing me, I might damage the lens if I took that off. So no, I'm not isolated. I'm not isolated, White Wolf, other than following all the isolation guidelines anyway. Morning, Rajiv. But yeah, if we're on about the plague, bear in mind the plague wasn't actually caused by rats. It was fleas on the rats, wasn't it? And fleas that were on other animals. So the rats get a bit of a bad rap for the bubonic plague and all that, but they weren't the actual things. That's annoying. Guess who? Did you get refunded for at least? Because you should get a refund if it was the export was cancelled. I don't know. I'd rather not spend the whole stream talking about hantavirus because I really don't know much about it. So it would be all speculation type stuff. You could Gas Mask Garage if you wanted to. I can't copyright that as a name. So if you want to do that, do that. Yeah, 3600X probably is a good CPU. I've got the 3900X though, but since I bought that, there's a load more AMD CPUs that are even better than it. But let me look them up, Rafi. Not off the top of my head, but that doesn't mean if I look them up, I'll go, oh, it's that one. Actually, searching RC202 filter, not much is coming up other than those awful ones, and it's not there anymore, is it, that mask? That really cheap crap dust mask? The half-face one. So if it's the filters for that half-face dust mask, the ones with the yellowy-looking filters, don't bother, because they're awful. Not as far as in Dr. John Campbell's videos, Rajiv, he doesn't think animals can spread it. Really, it's other than like the initial infections. Yeah, if you have an S10 where you can change the filters to different sizes, it's not a standard S10. It's probably an SF10 or one of the other variants. Right, Frosty, this was asked the other day. PTM1 is certainly better than nothing because PTM1 does give particulate protection. It wouldn't be as good as a modern HEPA filter, but it does give some protection. Yeah, it's because AMD put a lot of research and development in, didn't they, Azad? So it means that, they're now reaping the rewards of actually spending money, researching better CPUs, or Intel just sat on their hands, in a polite way of saying it, thinking we've got a monopoly on the market, and now it's bitten them in the ass. eBay ages ago, Colin, and I think you need 2 to actually use those efficiently because I think they're for some sort of rebreather setup. Somebody who's checked told me. Thank you very much, Anti. He said, ever noticed the green liquid in M10 filters? No, mine have not got liquid in. Okay, so do you mean like check M10s? If so, I have no idea what that could be. There shouldn't be a liquid in them. The M10 filters, you should either have particulate ones, which are just like a mesh kind of material, cottony mesh material, or you would have the charcoal ones, which are, the stuff keeping the charcoal in, so a bit of particulate protection, and then activated carbon. There shouldn't be ones with liquid in, unless you've got some very special filters, so I'd love to know what they are. But if you're on about regular videos, Tower Duck, I just simply can't reply to all the comments anymore because I get so many. So what I do is every now and then, throughout the day, I'll go on and reply to all the comments within like an hour that have been made. So like a few dozen comments, but it's nothing personal. If you're making comments on a regular video, there's just too many comments. I can't keep up with it anymore because it's at the stage now. Let's have a look on the analytics where I'm getting something like let's have a look. I'm at 110,000 views for the last 48 hours. So that's 55,000 views in a day. So if you think 55,000 people viewing, a lot of those are making comments. Gas mask collector said, is the GP7 VM good? Because I'm getting one for €60. Well, when you say free modern filters, I hope you've got GOST filters coming, because otherwise it won't be any use. I don't like GP7s and PMKs. Some people like them, I don't. I just think it's a crap face seal and no TISO system or oral nasal cut. You can't put slow mod on Colin anymore. It seems slow mode is not a thing YouTube lets you do, unless it's hidden somewhere. I can't find it. But every time I've looked for it in recent streams, it seems I've taken it away. Right, we'll just block that person. Newt, thank you, but yeah, if he's just spamming weird words into the chat. Daniel says, if not able to get filters, could you make one out of sanitizer wipe? Not joking. Not really. Sanitary wipes are for disinfecting surfaces. I don't know if you can breathe through them. Yeah, the thing is that if I've explained something in a video, I don't see why a lot of people have to keep making comments asking, a very slight variation of what I've said in the video. They should use some common sense. I don't mind helping people, but when it's when it is literally, people asking a question of what I stated in the video, just a slight derivative of it, learn how to think for yourself. It's that teach a man to fish thing, isn't it? Where if you're trying to give people info, but they don't want to listen and just want to keep blindly asking questions, it's probably not a hobby or, stuff to get into. George said, my PMK, let me show, comment, said, my PMK free, even though it's my size 2, but it squeezes my head like a motherfucker. That's the weird Russian sizing system, I think. And the crap straps they put on. If you're asking if I caught it, Aleko, I hope not, but everybody in the UK is being told to isolate regardless, so there you go. Normally I'd be at work on a weekend, but at the moment, no, you can't work. Unless you do certain jobs that are classed as essential, everybody is off work at the moment because the government's basically closed everything down for a while to try and control the spread. Shiva says, I recently picked up a complete set of PDFD children's gas masks. The only thing, it does not have a filter. You'll need to get GOST filters for them or they won't fit properly. No, I haven't survived. Can you give a bit more detail about that so I can look into it? Yep, I wore it today when I went out, although I had it hanging around my neck and I was going to put it on if I had to get close to people, and thankfully I didn't because it was all deserted earlier. But when I went shopping last time, I had this with me, yeah. I think they're lying about it, Pete, but I've been saying that for a while, because their numbers really don't add up if you look into them. Personally, no, but sort of like, we have family friends and they know people that have had it. So, you know people through contacts have had it, but nobody in my close sort of friends group or whatever has had it, or at least been tested for it. Because when it first started getting to the UK, I had like really bad flu for like a week and a half. And one of my friends did as well, but that could have just been the flu. There's no way of knowing unless I'm tested. But they're not testing, regular people at the moment. The UK is really kind of lax with the testing at the moment, which is a problem. Well, it's just what you're meant to be doing, Han. I mean, sadly, there are people violating it, but at least when I had to go and get the parcel earlier, if I show the people the picture again, you know, I won't bother rotating it this time, but see that? See how deserted that shopping street is? It does show you now that a lot of people aren't taking it seriously. I think there was like 3 people on the road when I went down there. When I was younger and, you know, under the age of 18 and wasn't allowed that sort of stuff, that weapons gym, they didn't let me get it, and I think that backfired when I turned into an adult. But George said, my buddy at the National Guard gave me a set of anti-flash lenses, the M40. Oh, that's very cool. So I took them out to my farm and lit off some thermite. The lenses work very well, but I may have set a table on fire. Be very careful what you say about thermite. I don't know if it's legal, but that's cool. Some people do tower duck. It depends on what country, but a lot of countries have banned PPE exports at the moment, as in personal protective equipment, because they want to keep it for their own country, for like doctors and, you know, frontline staff. At the moment, if you're buying surplus stuff that isn't gas mask or protective equipment, it's a lot cheaper than normal, which is good for me buying Geiger counter type stuff. But if you're trying to get gas masks, the prices are horribly inflated. Yeah, and those people are stupid, aren't they, prep stuff? Because if they're freaking out that you're wearing protective gear, they're being morons, in all honesty. Right, that's the Geiger counter, the rate meter. Those two, the Radiac survey meters, are actually ionization chambers. I've got an MD3, which is the updated one that you can actually use because it uses modern batteries. Ionization chambers are even more simple than Geiger counters. They're literally a box where an electrical current runs through them. And they detect radiation basically with you know, this bit here. But yeah, so if you say Geiger counter, yes, they're very similar to Geiger counters, as in the fact they detect radiation, but they're even simpler than Geiger counters, what they basically are. And that's a US CDV 720, which again is an ion chamber. So it's literally just where there's a box where there's an electrical charge running through the box, and then it detects ionization of the air inside the box. The average nerd said, do you know if the BEM 4GP had lenses for the sun, etc.? Not as far as I'm aware. I think it was just the regular panoramic visor. If you want to make a lens for it, the best thing, you're not really making anything, but buy the stuff you can get for car windows or house windows, which is like stick-on dark shade stuff. Then just literally stick that to the front so you can peel it off again if you want to. Cool, Chad Foreman. What, the MD3 variant or the Mark II Radiacs? Or are you on about the CDV 720 or like a CDV 700, CDV 715? There's all different things. In Chernobyl, Handolo, they had the Soviet ones. They had Soviet DP5s. Now, if my DP5 is put away in my box of Geiger counters, I won't be able to get it out. If my DP5 is in its storage thing, I can show it you. But I think, crushing my feet there with bottles. Now, I've got my DP5 put away, so I can't show you the DP5 at the moment. Oh, knocking all these over now. Brilliant. But yeah, it's DP5 series, Soviet DP5 series Geiger counters they have in the Chernobyl show, which are like brown or green, depending on, you know. I have no idea what you mean survive by that. I think it's Morsey Moo just because they have no clue what they're doing, in all honesty. I think a lot of governments are trying to do the thing of, oh, they don't want to damage the economy, and then they realise just how bad it actually was. Yeah, not all of it. There's a lot in a cupboard in the other room, but that's just those big Belgian left beers, whatever they are. Or I've just got them in here whenever I want them, because you don't really refrigerate Belgian beer. It's meant to be room temperature. Yeah, this is the one I wore earlier. This is why I put it on again, because people are asking which one I had with me. But I didn't actually have it on. I had it around my neck like this, and if I was going to go into a crowded place, I was then going to put it on. But thankfully everybody's obeying quarantine stuff and we're in. So yeah, for those of you that didn't see, that was the reason I didn't actually need to put it on. See that? Ghost town. So yeah, thankfully everybody is obeying the rules, only going out for shopping or for exercise. So yeah, I had to go out because fucking Royal Mail put a handling charge on my or Border Force, whoever did it, on my Geiger counter tube, so I had to go and pay £13 on top of what I'd already paid for some Geiger tubes. If you get an MP5 in good condition, Louis, it would be absolutely fine. If you get one in bad condition, no. So if you get one, I know that sounds a bit weird, but it's one of those masks where annoyingly, when you're buying it on eBay, unless you see photos of the individual one you're buying, it's quite hard to know. Also, lots of the French military masks that the MP5 is based on get listed as MP5s on eBay, but they're annoyingly not the MP5s. The original French ones aren't as good as the MP5s. If they were doing it handolo in a way where they were isolated from other people, it's not really a problem. But yeah, if they're like in close proximity or on a beach or whatever, that's not good. Gas Mask Collector said RD40 for NATO. NATO is RD40 as far as I'm aware. X1/7, whereas GOST is just RD40 as far as I'm aware, or RD40X4. Scott GSR or Avon GSR's DEFM are the masks the British Army used today. Already done a video like that, Azad, but I won't violate other people's privacy by doing too much of that. D&B Militaria years ago, Alf. The laws have changed a lot on them since, so probably won't be getting any more. Well, yeah, Jack, as I said, as I did in a video, yes, of course I would. I wouldn't use it in a video if it wasn't a good idea. I did one Benji like a year or less ago. Look at that one. That will still be the relevant one. More of a collector handolo, but some of the stuff comes in useful for, combinations of things. I've got one somewhere, Spacecraft, and I like it, but I have no idea where I've stored it. I can't remember if it came with a satchel bag or not. I don't think it did. So where I've stored it now, I don't know, but it is a good mask. I know some people say they're crap, but I don't understand why they'd say that. No, I've not seen a thing about 3D printed masks. It's because if you didn't get them early enough on Sanjiro, the prices are just massively inflating. But that's the way the world works, unfortunately. As I've said before, it's like if you don't buy a Geiger counter and then there's a radiation disaster, you're going to be paying through, the roof for a Geiger counter. Right, I'll have a look later, John. I can't really look at Discord while I'm doing a stream, unfortunately. The only way exact impact you can really prepare for coronavirus or something like that is just having respirators in your house for family members, disinfectants, and a stockpile of like food. So you don't have to go out unless you really need to. I don't really feel depressed about it, Pete. I mean, it's very strange. I'd say surreal is how I feel about it. It's very weird thinking I should be at work today, but I'm not because the government's told me not to go to work. It's that kind of stuff. It's more weird than anything. If that makes sense. Hello, Shrimpzoo. Wendy said, good morning. Scary update for my area. Local grocery stores confirmed corona cases. Multiple cashiers and stockers in one store. This is going to get nasty in a rural area. Sorry to hear that. But yeah, the problem is a lot of grocery stores and supermarkets were saying they didn't want workers, at least in the UK, to wear like PPE, personal protective equipment, because it looks bad for customers. So, they put their staff at risk, which then puts the customers at risk, Around 150 DEFM, the number goes up and down, but as I've said before, I've been giving my masks away to like friends and family who just need masks. If I ever get all that sort of stuff, Shiba drill, yes, but I've not actually seen any decent like full-size spectrometers and all that. Because I've also wanted to get a scintillator, but I've never seen any ones for decent prices. Yeah, I have to 343 Guilty Spark. You're right there. I have to keep checking the day. Like, the thing is, at the moment, because where I do charity volunteering, I've been told not to come in for that. You know, due to an infection risk. You know, volunteers are told not to come in now. It's just being done on bare bones, paid staff. My weekend jobs, you know, not running at the moment either. That's all been closed down. So at the moment, yeah, every day is just a day now. It's not like, you know, on certain days I need to be in certain places. David Heron, thank you very much for the donation. He says, thank you for all the information. Glad to help. Thank you for the donation. As in a radiation dosimeter, Azad, I've got lots of different radiation dosimeters. Dosimeter pens or like digital dosimeters. Dosimeter pens are these sort of things where you look through them into a light and they show you an accumulated dose from the little ion chamber inside getting irradiated. And in terms of digital dosimeters, yeah, I've got things like the Therapy and all those behind me somewhere. If it's in this room or is it somewhere else? I've got the Chinese one. There we go. This is quite cool. I'll turn it on. But this is a Chinese military FSZ03 dosimeter, like Geiger counter dosimeter. The bare bones staff, Daniel, and some of them have gone into foster. I assume the Blue Cross and a lot of animal charities at the moment, sadly, are just having to not foster as many animals. But there's not much they can do, obviously, because you've got the risk of if they take in more animals, people will get infected, more people will die. You know, it's a bad situation, I think, for everybody. But, you know, I think they're managing with the animals that are at the centre through fostering and bare bones paid staff. But I wouldn't have gone for a Gamma Scout because don't they max out at quite a low millisievert thing? The reason I like my Therapy is it can go up to several sieverts. So yeah, there you go. So it's got a dosimeter function on it. So you can see there if I press that again, what was it, that one? Yeah, there we go. It's at 34.0 millisieverts on there. I've logged onto it so far when it's been on. And when the thing powers on, it will show you the actual regular dose. Yeah, I like this shrimp because it's pretty compact. So if you have to go out and wear it, and it fits well with my glasses. And there you go. There's the ambient radiation reading, and it will go down a bit because it shouldn't be that high. But I think when the tube first starts warming up, it's a bit higher. But yeah, there you go. So these Chinese ones are pretty good, but sadly, I doubt you'll ever find one of these again, or at least not for the time being. That's not bad if it maxes out at 50 sieverts per hour, or was that millisieverts? Yeah, 50 millisieverts. That's, I think this is 45 millisieverts. This GQGMC, but you know, again, this is nowhere near as good as my Therapy because the problem with this one is you might be able to see it has two Geiger Muller tubes. It's got one of those Chinese ones there. It's got what's like a Soviet high range tube there. But the problem with these is basically, you know, one of the tubes cuts off for the other tube to come in at certain radiation levels. So I found I can use strontium 90 and overload the low range tube, but then the high range tube I think is gamma only or not very sensitive to beta radiation. Right, just to warn you, conspiracy retards are getting blocked on these streams. Is it an American bioweapon? No, it's fucking not. And, you know, it's not caused by vaccines. It's not caused by 5G. IZ4Y01 says, does C420 Papa need some sort of battery? It certainly would do. If it's a Papa unit, it will need a battery. I don't know what battery that one takes, though. Most either use AA's, AAA's, or have a rechargeable pack. I think some use weird old military batteries. I've got eye protection behind me. There's goggles there. These are the better goggles. But I don't need it when I'm in the house, do I? I just had this on because people asked me earlier what I was using. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Nearly all of those, once you go above a certain reading, they lose accuracy. And that person is stupid, Hunter. So there's your answer. There's the brand on it. It was just whatever was a decent price when on Amazon at the time I bought it. Because if things get really bad, White Wolf, I will wear a full face mask. But as I said today, if you didn't see the picture earlier, I'll show it again. Nobody around. People are actually following quarantine. So, you know, Motorola's have always been good. Yeah, that's the thing, Willow. You definitely have to decontaminate everything when you take it off if you've been, at risk of getting stuff on them. But, Magic Monkey Dust says he's in Israel and they're also locked down. Hope you're doing all right. But yeah, everywhere's locked down, obviously, mostly for a safety thing because it slows down the rate of infection, doesn't it? But yeah. Probably one of my panoramic ones, in all honesty, Tesco. Probably like, but as I said, I already got some in my car. That's quite good magic if they're doing that, because here they're not going to that extent, and a lot of people have been breaking quarantine. But thankfully, in my area today, there weren't as many idiots just wandering about because they just felt like it. If you can find any in stock, Sanjiro, the GVS Ellipse is good. The JSP Force 8 are good. But sadly, a lot of these are really stupidly overpriced now. As I said, the problem was a lot of people didn't, follow the warnings. Where I'd said, and lots of other people had said, months ago, you might want to think about getting a mask if you've not already got them, because of all the prices will go silly once everybody thinks they need a mask, and people trying to exploit the fact that, they can charge more for them. Yeah, see, that's sensible, Joan, but the problem here, thank you, Lee, with a Bane picture. Here, I think they only do a £30 fine, or you might get a warning, and then they'll give you a bigger fine if you're caught again. But the problem is, a lot of people aren't going to be deterred by that. Yeah, the radar scans are pretty good from what I've seen, because I've seen a video where somebody's using that with quite a strong radioactive source and it doesn't overload it. Is that the one that also has an alpha detector in it? Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the old sort of SOEX thing where it's got a really nice functional screen, but yeah, at least it's much better looking thing in a higher dose. I might get one at some point if I've got the spare money, and not too much. Yeah, if it's got an alpha detector and it goes to quite high dose, that'd be really useful if you're like measuring something like radium. Because the problem is with a lot of Geiger counters, if they're alpha, they overload at quite a low dose, and then radium just completely, makes them shit the bed. But what I do like is if you put radium stuff inside the old military ionization chambers, you can see it's like measuring 18 Rontgen or whatever. For the person asking how am I in the States, from the person in the US asking how am I, I'm doing all right, thank you. I suppose that's a good way of doing it, Pete, isn't it? So it doesn't fuck poor people over so much. But I think really it should just be how much of an idiot you're being a lot of the fines. Not anything that old, White Wolf. I've got a few old games installed on the PC, but, again, the problem is then you run into compatibility issues, don't you? Right, keep an eye on it, Hoovy. Hopefully you'll be alright. But again, with a lot of these things, I don't know what country you're in, but what they're doing in some places is stay at home with it. If it gets really bad, phone a doctor or a hospital and they'll arrange for you to go in, following quarantine procedures. My dad's around White Wolf, but my mum's gone to live with my grandparents for a bit so she can help look after them, because obviously if she travels from here to there every day or every other day, that's an infection risk. So I'm here with my dad at the moment. But yeah, keep each other company, really. I chat with a lot of my friends online because we're, not visiting each other for quarantine reasons. So you've been in isolation before lockdown, David. I hope you're doing all right. But yeah, the thing is, where I've got ulcerative colitis and asthma, I'm surprised I've not received a letter yet saying I'm at a higher risk group, because I was trying to look into this, and it seems that with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, there's like different tiers of risk depending on what medication you're on, the severity of your illness. It's really hard to understand looking at it, going, which category do I fit into? All right, glad you enjoyed the video, Zinkman. Oh, that's a shame, Dwarven Miner. I suppose, yeah, I think there's a lot of people, if they're frail anyway, it will be the thing that gets them, but again, though, it is getting healthy people, and that's, a real tragedy when you hear about people in their 20s and 30s with no health conditions or very minor conditions dying from it. Otherwise would have been fine. Here, Arnold Rimmer, the post is being delivered every day except Sunday as usual, and I had to go out and pay a bloody thing for Royal Mail earlier. Or, Parcel Force, Customs, whichever load of pricks it was, where they stuck a load of tax on something I imported. So I bought something, thinking I could save £1 or £2 doing it this way, and then I ended up having to pay a load more tax. So, it isn't even like trying to get around tax. I was doing that. It was just looking at different prices of things online, thinking, I'll save £1 if I buy it from this seller. Oh no, when it comes from China, they stick their bloody taxes on it. Yeah, I did earlier today index, but I wouldn't have even needed to because there were so few people out. Yeah, it is important doing a fit test, Jack Smith, because again, if you buy a mask that doesn't fit you or you don't do the straps up properly, won't be any good. The video I've got going on today at 1 p.m, it was going on at 12, and I remembered because I said I was going to stream at 12 today. I put the video one. Oh, it's saying battery low on this, so I'll have to charge the batteries up for it. I'll turn this off. But yeah, the video that goes on today is showing how you're meant to wear half face masks properly. Because the problem is, I've seen videos of like doctors and other people where they've got the half face masks on, they've got the both bits around their neck like that, or one bit under the ear, one bit over the ear, where rather than doing one up like that, one down like that. Glad you find the videos funny, Amanda. Well, they should be, David. I've not had any issues wearing anything into my supermarket, but if they have an issue with it, they're basically encouraging the spread, aren't they, if they're stopping people wearing PPE? I mean, I'd hope not. I'd hope not. IZ4Y, But, David said, my friend is NHS lung doctor. His dad died in January from corona. That's a shame. Like I said, it is really sad at the moment, I think, for a lot of people, because they are having loved ones die, and this woman phoned in LBC yesterday, and she said her son in her 50s, with no underlying health conditions, had it. He was recovering and he just dropped dead. Where his lungs just failed him. Well, normal face masks, if you mean surgical masks, don't stop things. They're to protect other people from you. Yeah, they're not here either, Shrimp Zoo. There was like emergency videos being put out for the NHS, so all doctors would know how to wear it, because only doctors that worked in certain fields would actually know. Yeah, Ravi. I prefer the JSP Force 8 I've got to my 3M 7500 series mask, because it's just made to a very good quality. The only thing I'd say is better about 3M masks is the valves are actually on the intake of the mask itself on 3M masks. On the JSP, the valves are on the filters. But in general, I actually prefer the JSP. It just feels slightly better made than the 3Ms. And when they were at normal prices, they were like half the price of 3M masks. You know, not the Chinese rip-offs of 3M masks, but the actual JSPs. Back when the masks were normal price, the Force 8s were like £20 RRP in the UK with filters. 3Ms without the filters were like £40. With the filters would be like £50-60. So yeah, the fact you could get 3 JSPs for the price of one 3M, you know, ready to go, was very good, and they are very good quality. The press to check filter thing is really good as well, because you can put the mask on. I'll show you and do essentially do a fit check really easily. Oh, you could get filters originally, Mitch Blitz, if you mean now, because they're all out of stock, then maybe, but, you know, going back a while ago, you could get these no problem, because they were just hardware masks. Yeah, with these, the good thing is you can do this, and, you know, check the fit seal. So you can see there that it's not actually fully fitted, so if I tighten it a bit more, try again. Yeah, pressurizing now. So there you go. That's why I quite like these, because they've got the fit test filters that 3M doesn't really do. You know, the push to check filters, and, you know, the overall construction of it's very good. But as I said, if you're having to pay stupid money for them, don't bother. But, you know, back when they were £20 hardware masks, they were excellent. Yeah, I think it's going to go on for ages, Raj, but how long it goes on before they tell people to go back to work, I don't know. But I think some doctors are saying now they think it's going to be late next year before it goes away. All right, Mitch. So yeah, it's a case then of they're prioritizing house staff, which is something important. But yeah, it is a bit annoying, isn't it, if you've got the mask and want to get filters and can't get any? I suppose you just have to look and try and find some still in stock somewhere. Yeah, if you can get some, because I know a lot of Russian surplus isn't being exported now, but if you can get surplus still shipped to you, that stuff might come in handy. Sadly, it's not Hoovy, not this summer anyway, because that's only a couple of months away, and it's doing absolutely fine, the virus, in hot countries. So it's not simply going to go away when there's warm weather. You're being very stupidly optimistic if you think that. Oh, is it a tutorial, Amanda? Then I don't know. I don't know, because the thing is, I'm not a doctor, you know, and I don't think any of the doctors even know, do they? About, is the first wave going to be worse, second wave going to be worse? Sadly not, Chad, because I'm in the UK. M40s don't even turn up very often at all here. I was very lucky to get an M40, and that was one I had to have imported from Germany. Dan says, glad I got the Force 8. I was given 2 from work. More filters would be good. £70 for a pair on eBay the other day. Yeah, I mean, at least the particulate filters, they last pretty much forever unless you're in a really smoggy, dusty place. Yes, Richard, people recommend that. Let's have a look and see on eBay, can you still get HEPA filters for like aircon units? There would be a way of doing it. I wouldn't really know how to do it myself, but what other people have suggested, which might work quite well, is vacuum cleaner bags. But if you go on eBay, look and type in HEPA filters, there's loads of results coming up for like HEPA filters for vacuum cleaners or aircon units and things like that. So you're completely right, Rich, and what other people have said as well of that. You can buy, there are ways of buying filter medium stuff to make filters out of if you haven't got the materials. Well, it's probably that cause. The thing is, when I get stomach pains, it's just ulcerative colitis / irritable bowels. So, this is what I've been taking recently for stomach pains, and it's very good for that, actually. Ron says he bought an old crate of C2A1 filters. No, I was lucky you got them. Yeah, nasty right. Yeah, just that would be good because, the problem is I think a lot of people, what they end up doing with masks is they just wear them as they find them most comfortable, not how they get the straps properly. Like saying, the problem I've seen people do a lot with fit tests, or not fit tests, is how they essentially decide to put on a mask is what they do is something like this. I've seen this a lot with surgical masks where they just do that. So it's coming away at my chin? Because what they do is they just stick both, straps directly behind the head like that. Or they might even put one strap like that maybe, but, just above the ear, one just below. And then, really not tight enough. So, they need to do the thing of doing that, where they actually have a strap up, a strap down. So, everything's tight enough. But the issue is, like I said, I've seen a lot of people that just literally put both straps right behind their head like that because it's more comfortable. But if the mask's not working, it'd be more comfortable not to wear a mask at all, wouldn't it? So, there's always stuff like that, isn't there? But eBay, a while ago, it was from like an old army firing range type thing. Yeah, Dr. John Campbell's videos are excellent for people that haven't watched them. Yeah, must have a tight seal, but you don't want too tight a seal. This is an interesting thing because 3M recommend not to have too tight a seal because it's kind of like a diminishing return. If you've got a mask tightened enough that it makes a good seal, once you start tightening it more, with some masks, the rubber will start bending in on itself, which can break the seal, which isn't good. Or the issue 3M have found through like workplace surveys or something was that when you tighten a mask too much, you start getting like tension headaches from the straps being too tight, or facial aches and stuff like that. So then people start, pulling the mask away from their face kind of subconsciously and breaking the seal. So what you want with a mask is the best fitted size mask for your face. And then the strap's done up so it's not going to come away from your face when you move your head around or something, but not so tight that it's actually going to cause discomfort, which then is counterintuitive. Yeah, as Amanda says, it's important when you're taking the stuff off and on that you decontaminate it properly. Also, I mentioned it in the video, I think that goes live at 1, that when you take your when you put half face masks on, be very careful with glasses, because the issue is you can normally wear glasses with half face masks, but you need to do it very well so they don't break the seal. Because I've found sometimes when I put masks on that if you have your glasses on, then you put the mask on top, not full face masks on, about half face masks, the rubber lip can get caught on the bottom of the glasses frame, therefore breaking the seal. I don't find so, Shrimp Zoo. I've actually saying that my 7500's in the car, but the particle filters I find for 3M are fine. It's just very similar weight to the JSP 478. I don't find them too heavy at all. But again, if you've got a full, filter, and again that shitty GOST adapter that's useless. If you've got a filter like this, yeah, you don't want two filters like this on a half face mask. Well, on Boris with Corona, not really, as far as I'm aware. I'm sure, being a prime minister, he has the best private doctors in the world, and he'd have his own, state-of-the-art ventilator if he needed one, so I wouldn't worry about him too much. I'd worry about the normal people who get it. It's just because I like collecting this stuff, Miller, and then this stuff at the moment happens to be in very high demand, but, most of the year, this stuff is just a curiosity. No, just half face masks at the moment, Paul, but if I had to go to a supermarket again soon, I would wear a full face mask. But... yeah, but everything's legal that I've got in the UK, Miller. So we won't talk too much about that in the stream, but look at some of the things behind me. Yep, S10 filters would certainly protect against corona. They are full-on CBRN filters, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear. Yeah, exactly, Darfax. That's my opinion, As much as it might be bad if a lot of government gets ill at once in terms of crippling the country, I'm more worried about, loved ones and the elderly, not rich politicians, As I've already said, on eBay, there weren't any more. That was the last one when I bought it. So unless more get listed, you're not going to find any. Oh yeah, Boris said, didn't he? Like, oh, I was shaking hands with all of the corona patients. I know Boris doesn't talk like that, but still. He's like, I was at the corona hospital, I was shaking hands with everybody, And now he's got corona. Oh dear. So he should have followed his own fucking advice, shouldn't he? The thing is, I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, Boris Johnson's got corona, Prince Charles got corona, like some people are doing. But the thing is, it is kind of hypocritical, isn't it, when you've got the people at the top telling you to take all these measures, they're not doing them themselves, and then they get infected. That's not very good, is it, Yushanga? Hopefully they get fined awful amounts of money for that. If you're not bothering to listen, South, you're gone. I've explained to you twice, and you didn't listen either time. It depends what the filter type is, Majestic Cornbread. But if it's a military filter, as in like an NBC filter, then that would be fine. Because the particulate bits don't really expire, or if they do, it's over like the course of, decades, and not like since 1999. I mean, like since 1960s or something. Who are you on about, White Wolf? Sorry? You and Rajiv? If I missed something. Or is this the thing about the doctor who was saying about them just having to let people over a certain age die, essentially? They sedate them and then let them die. Freshwater says, Scott Pro 2000 filters, the ABEC 2 P3 seem to be really heavy free. Symmetrical masks. How do you get around this problem? I mean, you have to hope you've got a mask that supports the weight well enough, then it won't be an issue. But yeah, they're not as good as regular CBRN filters in there. They're a bit bulkier and heavier, because I've got other types of filters like that are not the Scott ones, but they are industrial brands of ABEC filters, which are that bulky. But there isn't an easy way of getting around it other than a mask where the weight doesn't really drag it down. There isn't really a best filter, Aero AED. For coronavirus, you just need a P3, P100 filter. All right, Nerfless Squad. I'm going to be off in about 5 minutes because I've got a video that goes on at 1, and I don't want to be, overlapping into that. Because I imagine if YouTube then thinks people aren't watching the video, they're going to be like, oh, we won't show your videos to subscribers anymore. Any ABEC P3 filter, Gus, if you mean a gas filter? Or any, military in-date CBRN filters. I'm getting quite hungry as well, so I'm going to probably cook myself some dinner in a minute. With all of the actually, I'll see if there's any fresh food first and get that used up, but otherwise it'll be something frozen or something in a tin. With a firearms license, yes, Shrimp Zoo, but there's different like levels of it. So there's some that are easier to get, some that are harder to get. I think it's like some US states in that regard. Ones like California that have the most restrictions on firearms. Ones, like obviously, I think it's a lot more restricted in the US, but I think, it's not too dissimilar to some of the states where there's a long waiting period and all that sort of stuff. Oh, there's one of those Antifa idiots come back. Michael said, can an old, already opened MSA filter be used till I can't breathe through it anymore? If it's a particle one, yes. Trying to see if it will protect against corona after it's open like days or weeks after. As long as it's got a particle section, yes. If it's a vapor filter, once you can start smelling through them, they're no good anymore. Interestingly enough, Dallas, if they're 22 long rifle, like a Ruger 1022, they can be fully semi-auto. I know fully semi-auto sounds stupid, like, it's a fully semi-automatic baby killing assault rifle. You know what I mean? As in, it can be semi-automatic rather than being, a single action type thing. The S10 is 40mm NATO gas, so any filter, basically DOST and NATO filters will screw in. Well, I think multivitamins are good for people non-stop, Darfax. I'll be honest with you. Years ago was when I started taking multivitamins when I got ulcerative colitis because I was iron deficient, so I wanted to get multivitamins that had iron in and a lot of other things. And since I started taking multivitamins, I get colds and stuff a lot less than I normally do. So I think multivitamins are great, I don't think that's just a placebo. It just literally was that, it would go from getting a cold every month or two to getting maybe 2 colds a year. So, going from something like 6 to 12 colds a year to something like 2 colds a year after starting multivitamins, I don't think that's a placebo effect. I really like multivitamins, but I know there's people who think they're a waste of money and they don't do anything, but I'm sure they wouldn't be allowed to sell them if they just completely didn't work. Yeah, I mean, it depends, doesn't it, Survive, if you're lacking in anything, I guess. Because, again, if you have a really good balanced diet, a multivitamin's probably useless. But most people, I think, with modern diets probably are lacking certain nutrients. So having a multivitamin is just a good supplement to whatever you're eating anyway. I suppose I could Shrimp Zoo, but just with how YouTube is now, I need to be quite careful with that. Just because as much as when I started this channel 2012, you're allowed to do a lot more of that sort of thing, even though it's all legal, YouTube now is very anti, some of this sort of stuff. Yeah, I suppose that's the point, Dwarven Miner. Or speaking of homeopathy, I got an email from a homeopathic business doctor saying, don't worry, due to coronavirus, we're still selling medications and we know there's a high demand for them. And you think, oh Christ, are people really buying homeopathic remedies for coronavirus? I mean, I do like homeopathy because I can buy radium from homeopathic things and it actually makes my Geiger counter tick. So, there's that. Right, anyway, I'll be off now. I probably won't stream later tonight, and if I do, it'll be like a 20-30 minute stream. Thank you, everybody. But yeah, obviously it's not been that busy today's stream because I think it's just a bit too early for some people. I would say people would be out and about, but at the moment they shouldn't be. Yeah, if you haven't seen the video provider, I've done a video on it. I found homeopathic radium tablets, and I thought they'd just be like sugar tablets, so I put them next to my Geiger counter, and it ticks higher than background. Whether or not it's actually radium in there or they've just put thorium dust or something in there, I don't know, but it does actually make the Geiger counter tick. So thank you everybody that donated. Don't forget to like the stream on your way out, and there's a video I've got going on about now anyway. So see you all later on. I'll try and reply to some comments now and again throughout the day, because I know people have been getting annoyed that I don't reply to comments as much, but that's just because I get so many views and comments now I can't keep up with them. But yeah, see you all, and stay safe. Obviously, that's the most important thing at the moment.